Thanks for your time today. I'll be taking you through messaging, positioning, and objection handling for the Cisco desktop virtualization solutions with Citrix Zen Desktop. A great place to start is a quick overview of the partnership. Citrix and Cisco have engaged in a strategic partnership that has real teeth. This is not an alliance in name only. We have a 5-year technology agreement that allows for us to share our technology. The Citrix HDX protocol is optimized for the Cisco network. We have joint product development. In fact, Cisco recently OEM'd the Citrix NetScaler VPX product on the Nexus 1000V, releasing Citrix NetScaler 1000V. We have developed joint programs to increase joint technology, sales, and marketing for desktop virtualization and cloud solutions. And we've also negotiated a strategic redistribution agreement, which allows Cisco to resell Citrix Zen Desktop. So this is a very strategic partnership for these two companies, with many millions of dollars already invested in our joint success as well as those of our partners. Cisco UCS is a relatively new entrant to the server and blade market. They've been around for about 5 or 6 years, and initially a lot of their positioning is predicated on the fact that their server and blade solutions are purpose-built for virtualization. Beginning with server virtualization and now joining Citrix, the market leaders in desktop virtualization, we can see why Cisco has been so successful in this market space. The Cisco Unified Computing System unites computing, networking, virtualization, and storage access using technology innovation to bring together an ideal platform for desktop virtualization. Specifically, the Cisco UCS costs at least 20% less than competitors due to its radically simplified architecture requiring fewer components, supports 60% more virtual desktops without impacting user performance, is easy to deploy and scale, has massive scalability. Full system scales to 320 servers by 120 virtual desktops per server, equaling up to 38,500 desktops. And it has the largest and most cost-effective memory footprint for a 2-socket server, combined with incredibly fast, secured I/O, avoiding bottlenecks. Citrix Zen Desktop is a desktop virtualization solution that transforms Windows desktops and apps into an on-demand service available to any user, any device, anywhere. Zen Desktop quickly and securely delivers any type of virtual desktops, Windows, web, and SaaS applications to PCs, Macs, tablets, smartphones, laptops, and thin clients, all with a high-definition user experience. Citrix FlexCast delivery technology enables IT to go beyond just VDI and deliver virtual desktops to any type of user, including task workers, mobile workers, power users, and contractors. Zen Desktop also helps IT rapidly adapt to business initiatives such as offshoring, mergers and acquisition, and branch expansion by simplifying desktop delivery and enabling user self-service. The open, scalable, and proven architecture dramatically simplifies virtual desktop management. Support and systems integration optimizes performance, improves security, and lowers costs. In addition, Zen Desktop is now expanded to include support for Cisco Unified Communications and Jabber deployments. So when you combine these two technologies together, there are 4 main things to remember. With Citrix and Cisco, you'll get exceptional control, compliance, and security of diverse endpoint environments, the ability to rapidly deploy, scale, and manage your virtual desktops. You'll get an uncompromised user experience, which is very, very important because having a near native experience for the end user will make sure that they use your virtual desktops and your virtual apps. And you'll be able to control and reduce the desktop total cost of ownership. So let's delve into the messaging and positioning. So why desktop virtualization? It's becoming more and more prevalent as people are bringing their own devices into the organization. This has been a mainstay of Citrix positioning since day one. And 3D professional graphics is particularly important in manufacturing, engineering, architectural firms, and radiology. Microsoft Windows migrations have always been key to desktop virtualization, and business demands such as doing more with less are constantly present and evolving drivers. In addition, cost and complexity of traditional distributed computing is a big topic and leads to a lot of conversations around desktop virtualization and how it helps organizations manage and control costs, particularly with upgrades, refreshes, and managing desktops, managing rollouts for desktops. Application and data security is also a big component and a big part of the mantra for Citrix since day one, and for a security conscious company such as Cisco is a big driver and very, very strong alignment with our sort of data security messaging from a Citrix perspective. And basically users are demanding more and more, and when it comes to using their own devices at work, they are demanding that they be able to use their own tablets and smartphones in a work environment. Now, primary benefits are centered around 5 key areas. So user experience, something that is very important to both Cisco and Citrix. With Citrix, it started with XenApp and the app virtualization market. Cisco understands that in order to capitalize on virtualization in all of its forms, it has to be ready to provide a near native experience to support apps, desktops, voice, and video. Both companies seek to lower cost, especially around their TCO messaging. And desktop virtualization is much about containing costs as it is about ensuring productivity is unhindered in the workplace. In order to support a lower cost positioning, the solution has to be scalable. And UCS does this beautifully with Citrix, the only truly scalable desktop virtualization solution in the market. And customers can start with a small set of users if they're piloting the technology, but equally Citrix Zen Desktop on UCS has customers that have deployed tens of thousands of users across the organization. Simplified provisioning is also an important part of the UCS management console, but also an important part of the way Citrix Zen Desktop provisions virtual desktops, reducing time to deliver those desktops within the organization. Reference architecture, in this case, a Cisco validated design, combines these technologies that have undergone stringent testing to ensure performance, scalability, and lower TCO. The CVD provides customers and partners with the confidence that the technology works and works well together. Your target audience, primary titles are at the C-level, CIOs, CTOs, or Vice President of IT, Vice President of Client Services, or Application and Infrastructure Architects. Your secondary titles or influences are those managers or directors in the data center and desktop IT operations managers, as well as line of business managers. That's becoming more and more prevalent as desktop virtualization becomes more mainstream. In terms of customer influences for desktop virtualization, the primary influences are around desktop refresh cycles and growth. Compliance and data security is another big one, as well as the cost of desktop systems and applications. And finally, virtual workforce and bring your own device or workforce mobility is a big influence, and it's becoming more and more evident as we move down the desktop virtualization path towards more enterprise mobility. Secondary influences include things like security and data protection, greater business agility and accessibility for the end user, introduction of new endpoints into the work environment, supporting a larger geographically dispersed workforce whilst containing costs and any sort of negative effects on operations and productivity, and as always, reducing CapEx and OpEx. So in terms of value statements for some of the different decision makers or influencers, at the CXO level, it's really lowering costs, increasing productivity, and enabling secure mobility. For the data center, influencers care about faster deployment, lower risk, and performance is important to them at the highest possible density per blade. The desktop owner, similarly, they care about user experience and managing the desktops and security, reducing that sort of complexity. And if you're talking to the network provider or the network administrator, position the fact that Cisco networks are HDX aware and that the Cisco network is optimized for desktop virtualization. So remember when I said that part of this alliance was that 5-year technology agreement. That's where we started to open up some of the Citrix technology, such as the HDX, the power of HDX to to Cisco's networking products. If you're talking to the security decision maker, the security influencer is going to want to ensure the data is secure from the data center through to the endpoints, and that they would have the capability to lock down user data and remediate vulnerable endpoints. So think about a user who's lost their laptop, and you want the administrator to actually lock down the laptop so that the data cannot be taken or stolen by someone who finds that laptop. In terms of the application provider, they will care about app management costs, simplifying upgrades, and enabling any Windows application to be virtualized in the data center. And finally, line of business will primarily care about the end user applications, how they can access it for productivity gains, whilst maintaining data integrity and security. They will want to know that it's easy to deploy and update for their end users. In terms of horizontal versus vertical market opportunity, horizontal markets, 500 plus desktops, organizations with significant task workers such as call centers, organizations with temp workers, mobile workers, contractors, remote offices are key targets, as well as organizations pursuing desktop refreshes or growth. Microsoft Windows migration is a big one. Compliance and data security, desktop TCO, reducing deployment and management complexity, flexible or virtual workforces, or BYOD or device initiatives. In terms of virtual markets, the really sort of big ones are finance, healthcare, education, and government. In finance, there's a strong focus on data security and compliance. Same with healthcare, as well as the mobility of staff members with diverse endpoints. In terms of education, they support mobility and BYOD, cost control, and reduce complexity with limited IT resources. From a government perspective, they like to support remote access, teleworking, and mobility. And data security and compliance, again, is also a big issue, as well as cost containment. So let's have a look at some objection handling points. If you wanted to look at business justification and the customer or the prospect is saying that they don't have a business justification or have not been able to create a business justification, we can help develop that business justification just based on the increasing business agility and addressing the top issues facing IT departments today, such as extending enterprise applications to mobile devices or providing secure remote access to enterprise PCs. So they're very big sort of influences as to why they need to think differently in terms of rolling out their desktops and their apps. If it's a budgetary issue, our partners can help with the analysis and design of a desktop virtualization solution. and even offer proof of concepts to validate the technology for the next budget opportunity. It's a good way to actually get the message into the organization and help them build the budget for the business requirement. In terms of technology maturity, they push back and say that technologies are not mature. This is not true. I mean, Cisco and Citrix already have a number of significant customer successes across many different industries. And so Cisco and Citrix have deployed tens of thousands of virtual desktops to small and large customers across the globe. So it's not just, the Americas or EMEA or Asia Pacific. It's not one instance where we're actually working together to get virtual desktops into organizations. It's every geography, and we have many different deployments, large and small. If the customer is unhappy with their current POC or production deployment, Cisco and Citrix and the partner have solutions and the experience to address many of the challenges that customers face, whether it's ROI or TCO, user experience, or even just accelerating the proof of concept rollout. So, the message is that the technologies work. They work well together. We've successfully moved a lot of deployments from POC environments through to production environments. So they really do get to mitigate their risk when they're thinking about a solution in this space. In terms of user experience, if the customer is concerned about the desktop virtualization user experience, Cisco and Citrix both prioritize this in their in terms of combining their technologies in the Cisco validated design. So they combine all of the benefits of a solution like Citrix Zen Desktop on the UCS platform to provide a user experience that is near native. In fact, the Citrix HDX technology gives users an experience that actually rivals a local PC, even with voice, video, and 3D application. If you want to learn more, there are two URLs that you can go to, the cisco.com/go/Citrix site or the citrix.com/Cisco site, where you can download more white papers or solution briefs or case studies to find out more about the joint solution. There are also collaterals and deliverables that are included in this portal for download. Thank you and happy selling.